No one could have foreseen what 2020 would have in store for us. From natural disasters to global pandemics to civil unrest, there has never been a greater display of our citizens, soldiers, and airmen serving and assisting their own communities. And all of this while still supporting federal missions around the globe. Training year 2020 would prove to be a year like no other.
Training year 2020 began with the largest call-up of Oregon National Guard soldiers since World War II. Nearly 1,000 citizen soldiers from the 41st Infantry Brigade Combat Team were activated in support of federal missions in Eastern Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Our soldiers worked together with our NATO partners, provided security, trained allies, and supported coalition forces in vital strategic points across the world. In November, our Oregon Air National Guard mobilized 100 members from the 116th Air Control Squadron from Warrenton in support of Operation Inherent Resolve and Operation Resolute Support. 241 airmen and 10 F-15 fighter jets from the 142nd Wing in Portland were mobilized in April to support Operation Noble Eagle in Savannah, Georgia. Additionally, 60 soldiers with Detachment 2, Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 168th Aviation based in Pendleton were activated and deployed to Afghanistan to provide equipment and personnel aerial transport. While federal deployments for the National Guard have become more commonplace, they still remain a significant impact on individuals, their families, and communities. The activation of these service members for operations thousands of miles away from home would prove to be the most normal of operations the Oregon National Guard would face throughout 2020. As the year began, Oregon National Guard soldiers responded to the largest search and rescue operation in its history, supporting massive flooding in Umatilla, Union, and Wallowa counties. Flight crews from Gulf Company, 1st Battalion, 189th Aviation in Salem, and Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 186th Aviation in Pendleton, rescued 54 people and more than a dozen animals while also delivering supplies to rural areas that were cut off by the floodwaters. This search and rescue operation was only the beginning of what would become the Year of the Guard. As the floodwaters in northeastern Oregon receded, the coronavirus was rapidly becoming a global pandemic. On March 8th, Governor Kate Brown announced a state of emergency as 7 new cases of COVID-19 brought the total to 14 in the state. The Oregon Office of Emergency Management was quickly put into action with the Salem Emergency Coordination Center and Portland Joint Information Center, while presumptive positives of the virus began to multiply. As the confirmed number of cases quickly grew to more than 50, the need to prepare for additional hospital bed capacity and testing sites quickly became apparent to the Oregon Health Authority. In mid-March, the outbreak of more than a dozen cases at the Oregon Veterans Home in Lebanon initiated the first official response from the Oregon National Guard, tasking the SURF-P to set up large tents for use as a temporary COVID-19 testing facility. The testing site provided a safe area outside of the care facility to screen more than 200 staff and caregivers. Days later, the Oregon Health Authority identified the potential for medical facilities to become overwhelmed and made the decision to establish the Oregon Medical Station at the State Fairgrounds in Salem. On March 19th, the first 20 Oregon National Guard soldiers were ordered to state active duty in response to COVID-19 and tasked with establishing the medical station. Over the following weeks, the Guard continued to work in conjunction with the Oregon Department of Administrative Services and other state partners to deliver cots, blankets, and hygiene packs throughout the state. A clear example of the dual nature of the National Guard's citizen warrior role during these operational periods was the PPE Distribution Network, established in early April, where Guard members began working with Oregon's Department of Public Safety Standards and Training, Department of Administrative Services, and other state agencies to form Task Force Assurance. The distribution hub, manned by both soldiers and state employees, consisted of a central warehouse in Wilsonville with additional personnel at 7 county assistance teams dispersed throughout the state. Colonel DeMontney, The commander of Task Force Assurance stated that the National Guard has a unique advantage for these types of situations, as Guard members are able to draw on experience gained from civilian professions. After only a few weeks, Task Force Assurance had grown to more than 200 personnel and was delivering millions of pieces of PPE to all 36 counties, 11 tribal entities, and hundreds of hospitals, medical facilities, and assisted living centers across the state. The pandemic also created deep economic uncertainty, as millions of Americans lost jobs and had to rely on unemployment insurance, which quickly became inundated with claims. To assist with the unprecedented number of applications being filed, additional Oregon service members were activated to help provide customer support under the Oregon Employment Department. As we entered the summer of 2020 and communities continued to adjust to a new norm of social distancing, Task Force Assurance came to an end. In just over 2 months, the task force was able to supply all county emergency operations centers with a stockpile of PPE, as well as creating a state reserve for future needs. The mission was considered a huge success and garnered national attention for how the Guard can be used to establish logistical operations quickly and effectively. Shortly after the Guard's COVID operations ceased, the Oregon Military Department shifted gears into annual wildland fire training and certification, per a standing agreement with the state called Op-Plan Smoky. Mid-June saw nearly 400 service members receive their Red Card certification, many of whom had just completed assignments under Task Force Assurance. No one could have foreseen how crucial that early preparation would prove. Normally a time for enjoying one last celebration before the school year begins, Mother Nature had a different plan for Labor Day weekend 2020. Low humidity, combined with unprecedented strong winds, resulted in fire starts across the state, spreading to more than 750,000 total acres in just 3 days. State, federal, and civilian wildland firefighters made crucial initial attacks on the engulfing fires, but were rapidly becoming overwhelmed due to limited resources, partly caused by pandemic restrictions. As Oregon fell under a veil of amber and ash, it was once again identified that more help was needed. Thanks to annual preemptive training ahead of fire season, the Oregon National Guard was able to quickly activate 3 separate ground teams of 125 service members each, and multiple air crews and aircraft to provide support. The 3 teams working under the Oregon Department of Forestry were deployed to areas throughout the state, while 2 additional teams were created and Red Card certified. Additionally, approximately 100 more Guardsmen were activated to support traffic control points to assist the more than 40,000 citizens that were forced to evacuate the path of the raging fires. Within 2 weeks of the activation, the significant surge in trained personnel from the Guard, aided by cooler, wetter weather, allowed the Oregon Department of Forestry and other civilian wildland firefighter agencies to regain control, allowing Guard volunteers to be recalled. More than 1 million acres across the state burned in the fires, but by far the biggest loss was the more than 4,000 destroyed homes and the 9 people that lost their lives. Had it not been for the courageous and dedicated response by all the firefighters, structural, wildland, civilian, and military, these numbers could have been much worse. With the pandemic, employment insurance, civil unrest, fires, and floods, these missions were a part of the largest national domestic operational response by the National Guard since World War II. The culmination of these efforts is a true testament to the diverse set of capabilities that the National Guard is able to provide in assisting and protecting fellow citizens. After what seemed like one disaster after another, 2020 did come with at least one piece of exceptional news for the Oregon National Guard. For the last 30 years, the F-15 Eagle has been the main airframe flown by both the 142nd Wing and 173rd Fighter Wing. In July, the United States Air Force announced that the Oregon Air National Guard will be receiving the new F-15EX fighter jets. The new aircraft is designed to withstand 20,000 airframe hours and has upgrades in the weapons and avionics systems. At the close of training year 2020, communities around the state were also able to find cause for celebration as soldiers from the 41st Infantry Brigade Combat Team began returning home from various locations in the Middle East and the Horn of Africa. And while pandemic restrictions still persist throughout the state, country, and world, these reunited friends and families will be able to weather the storm better together.
Throughout the year, the soldiers and airmen of the Oregon National Guard, the members of the Office of Emergency Management, and the civilian staff of the Oregon Military Department focused on the unprecedented and unparalleled response to numerous state and federal missions. Our team never wavered from the task at hand. Again and again, the Oregon Military Department stepped up to support the citizens of the state of Oregon. While facing one of the highest ops tempos seen under current state and federal missions, units at all levels were able to continue the necessary training to maintain their readiness for unforeseen future challenges. As we adapted to teleworking and social distancing guidelines, your hard work and resiliency exemplified your dedication to duty and what it truly means to be always ready, always there. Thank you for all you have done. We can all take great pride in saying that we are members of the Oregon Military Department.